Guys, what's going on? Back with another video. Last week I did a video on the Haunting of Verdansk. It was the Halloween event for Modern Warfare and Warzone, where you can earn a couple items if you loot within Warzone. And I discussed the character Dr. Karlov, and at the time I did mention I was just going to give a brief overlay of the character, what it was based off of. I wasn't going to go into anything too in depth, but of course, the internet and the way it is, I got trolled by a lot of people. And there's a couple points that I just want to point out real quick before I actually go into the character and show you more stuff that I found. Again, like I had a week to investigate it a little bit more, watch a couple more movies, just to kind of get my point across. First things first, I did mention that season 6 looks like it's a continuation from season 5. In season 5, you had a couple. Everything in the battle pass was based off of like horror movies. If you go back and Google the name of the guns and stuff like that, I'm not 100% sure because I actually didn't do it myself, but I'm almost certain maybe all the guns and maybe the items in the battle pass maybe even hinted at Boris Karloff's, which is Dr. Karloff, who the character is based off of. Might have hinted of all of his movies, maybe hinting at a new operator that was coming. Maybe that was the idea, because I'll show you a couple examples. I'm not 100% sure if that was the intent of season 5, because a lot of it did have Boris Karloff items and movies in there. If you go back and look at it and maybe watch other people's videos. Anyways, moving on. The thing that I wanted to touch on, and this goes back to the original video that I made last week, is there's a thing in psychology called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Some people might be familiar with it. I actually learned it on Vsauce a while back. So what it is stupid people know little about anything, and they think they know 100% of it. And I guess the best example I was thinking of is like, let's say you teach somebody about apples and oranges, then they think they're an expert on fruit. Not real. The stupid person doesn't realize that they are that there is like thousands of other fruits out there. So they go to take a test and they fail the test miserably because they thought they were an expert on fruit, but then or not realize there's maybe hundreds of different varieties of or species of apples and oranges that you just give them one apple and one orange and they think they're an expert on it. So that's basically what happened last week in the comment section. A lot of stupid people who aren't good at solving Easter eggs, don't know how the devs work. The devs are literally maybe like 5 times smarter than the people who play the games. The Easter eggs that are deeply hidden in the game and the meaning behind stuff, the average person is not gonna understand it. And then on top of that, you get stupid people that they find one little thing and they think they're an expert on Easter eggs and stuff like that. So that's just something that I guess a phenomenon that happened in the first video. There was a couple other things that I want to touch on, and I don't even if I did have all the information back then, I'm never gonna put everything all in one video because people steal your ideas and they don't credit you anyways. So that's a big problem in the zombies community and the Call of Duty community. Anyways, big channels just they steal all your information. They don't credit you. They want it to look like they're a genius. That's a whole different issue than the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's just stupid people. They watched the video, they Googled Dr. Karloff and saw that it was a book, Double Jeopardy, uh, that hints at it or something like that, or connected. But I did mention in the original video that it's based around movies. The whole theme in Treyarch, and I guess it looks like Infinity Ward, it's always going to be movies. There's really not that many books that they would put Easter eggs. The whole thing is just movies, and of course, when somebody is stupid, you can't get that across to them no matter how much you try. So the next thing is, for the other group of people that made comments, is something called the red herring, which is devs, like I said, are just so much smarter and the people that make the games than the average person that plays it. Of course, because they got it in the position that they are because they're very smart and intelligent. Red herring is when I guess a director or somebody who makes something puts something in the movie or game to distract you or trick you, making you think that you figured out the movie, but in actuality, it's there just to distract you. And I'll just read it real quick and then move on to the next topic. This is just reviewing a little bit of the last video, stuff that I had to deal with or watched or read in the comment section. It says that a red herring is something that misleads or distracts from a relevant or more important question. It might be either a logical fallacy or a literary device that leads readers or audiences towards a false conclusion. And that's exactly what happened also. Aside from the Dunning-Kruger effect, where stupid people think that they're an expert on solving Easter eggs, where I've been doing this for years and is literally the best at it. I used to give answers to a lot of people, but I stopped doing that a couple last year, actually like 2 years ago in Black Ops 4. So a lot of the and actually, I'll show you what I was talking about, but I just want to kind of put that out there. It says a red herring may be used intentionally as a mystery fiction or part of a rhetorical strategy, especially politics. I guess it's saying an example. So, like I said, they put some Dr. Karlov stuff in there to fool pretty much the stupid people or the ones that are novice at solving Easter eggs. But moving on, that's just another point. The last point that I want to make is the low-hanging fruit scenario, where the people, let's say the Dr. Karlov book connection was just the low-hanging fruit. If you're not great or you're not smart at solving Easter eggs, you just can grab at the fruit at the bottom. So probably 10 out of 10 people would just Google, like I said, Dr. Karlov movie and then find Double Jeopardy and something like that was the name of the movie, which is easy. Like, you have a keyboard, you have a computer, you can solve that. It takes no IQ, no brains at all to figure something out like that. And that was majority of the comments that I got in the first video, is something about Dr. Karlov, Double Jeopardy, but it's the low-hanging fruit. They put it out there for people to kind of feel proud about themselves that they figured something. And then the Dunning-Kruger effect goes into effect, where those people that were able to solve that low-hanging fruit now think they're a genius. And it's like, it's overconfidence, I guess, if you go read about the Dunning-Kruger effect. The stupid people, they think they're an expert. And then you get the smart, and then it says the geniuses, like myself, they know that there's even more and more to dive into, that they're like, wait, I don't want to give an answer yet because I know there's a ton more stuff. So it's kind of like a strange little phenomenon, like they were saying. So that was just some stuff, like I said, I wanted to kind of go into. So I pointed out in the first video, Driven to the Point of No Return is an actual song from Phantom of the Opera, aside from The Mask. So if you haven't figured it out yet, Dr. Karlov is based off Boris Karloff movies. They kind of maybe Frankenstein a couple of his movies into his character, and I'll show you going forward. The Mask being one thing, The Point of No Return was a song from Phantom of the Opera. Now, you got to realize Phantom of the Opera has been around for about 100 years now. It started out as a book, a movie, but we're talking more about Boris Karloff movies. So there's a like 1920s version, there's 40s versions, the play and the movie and stuff like that. So The Mask obviously is a Phantom of the Opera mask. The Point of No Return is a song from Phantom of the Opera. So those are the little Easter eggs. Another thing that you're going to want to pay attention here, so I don't have to go back into it. Oh, actually, you know what? Hideout. This is going to be, this word hideout is also put in there as a little Easter egg or a little hint. So Point of No Return was a hint of Phantom of the Opera, The Mask, and then Hideout. You're going to want to remember that for going forward. So as you can see, The Mask, again, it's a Bale character, but his name is Dr. Karlov. The Mask is from Phantom of the Opera, that thing. Now, this little device that he has on him, or on his person, as people say, what that is, and I hope I'll get back to it, but just keep an eye on that. And the other thing you gotta remember or realize, his face is disfigured like the Phantom of the Opera. He had acid There's a couple stories or variations of the story depending on the movie that you watch. He was born disfigured, so he grew up in a freak show in a circus. Then he ended up being really good at music and living in the basement of an opera house. Another story is he got obsessed with somebody, and I think the girl's boyfriend threw acid in his face, or a mob of people, and that's how he got disfigured. But you can see his eyes closed, and if you zoom in, or probably in game might be a little bit better, you can see that his face is disfigured. That's why he wears the mask. But in real life, the actors use it. Oh, actually, I'll get into that later. Now, so this is kind of jumping around a little bit because, like I said, I don't have time. So I'm piecing this a little bit together so you guys can all follow it. So this is the Dr. Karlov bundle, and what a lot of people do is that they just Google Dr. Karlov, maybe bad times, like a Double Jeopardy book or movies. I don't think it was even a movie. So that's the thing. You have to realize this whole thing is based around movies. Tesla coil, mad scientist. I thought I saw somewhere, but maybe not. So that's the main low-hanging fruit that people solved and thought they were an expert on it. The Tesla coil and stuff like that. And it goes back to a book named Dr. Karlov. But you got to realize it's more paying homage to the actor Boris Karloff. And here's the actor here. His real name was William Henry Pratt. I went over this in the first one. His stage name was Boris Karloff, and he'd had a couple movies. The ones that I wanted to point out was Frankenstein. And there's one, and I'll show you. It doesn't say it here, but like again, I'm not going to go over this in depth. I tell people you can kind of go on Wikipedia yourself. Just keep in mind his name is Boris Karloff. He did horror movies, Frankenstein being one of them. The Mummy. As far as what else is on here, I can't really remember, but I just wanted to kind of point people into that direction. I'm going to kind of incorporate, if you watch the first one, you'll see how there's different stuff in here. Again, Frankenstein. There were a couple things that I pointed out, like the Raven is definitely, and the Black Cat was definitely something in Season 5 Battle Pass. The Juggernaut I thought was cool, but it had nothing to do with our type of Juggernaut that we're familiar with. I have to go back and look at Devil's Island. I still haven't done that. Maybe I'll even make a third or fourth video, because this is a Infinity War exclusive character that they made. It's not a Saw or Texas Chainsaw Massacre type skin that they just bought the rights to the character or whatever, or borrowed. So anyways, like I tell people, I did check out a couple movies. I did find some new stuff. The Visible Ray sounds like something like a ray gun or something like that. It might be connected to. And so look at moving forward. The mask. The mask is from the Phantom of the Opera. Now, again, there's a full mask like this one, these two here, and there's a half mask. The full mask was the original one from the movies and even in the Broadway play. But what happened was the actors, it started hampering when they put music in it and stuff like that they couldn't really sing properly. I know a lot of it's probably pre-recorded anyways, if you know about Broadway plays and stuff like that. And movies, the music is, they're lip syncing to the music, and the music is edited in. But basically, there's his mask, and they can't use the white because the white is trademark and copyrighted by Andrew Lloyd Webber and the Phantom of the Opera. Even the half mask, I believe, was kind of invented by Andrew Lloyd Webber and stuff. So that's all copyrighted. So if you ever like made a movie with a half mask that's white, you're more likely going to get struck down with a copyright, because he kind of, I think, staked claim on that white mask look. Nobody had used it before, I believe, and then that's why if Infinity War Modern Warfare had used the white mask, it would have caused a lot of trouble, and they would have to pay a lot of money. So they used the clear one, and then at the same time it shows his disfigured face. Like this guy up here is what it looks like from the movie 2000 something, I don't remember, but it's been around for a while. So that's where his mask comes into play. Not necessarily Phantom of the Opera, but I'll get to that moving forward. The Point of No Return is a song. It's a really, really good song. Even if you're not a big fan, you should listen to the soundtrack. It's pretty amazing. There's not much to say. It's pretty obvious. Sticks out by itself. A lot of different versions. I like the hard rock versions, but the original Broadway one is pretty amazing in itself. Moving forward, here is that thing that was on his body. It's for to administer anesthesia, and it's gonna come up in the next couple photos. So he's a doctor, and I'll get into it, but just keep in mind, this device is what they put on your face, and they give you the anesthesia to knock you out while they do surgery. Same thing here, but his is an older version. You'll see how that makes sense in a little bit. And if you're still watching this pretty much primarily, as always, steered towards the devs also, that I'm the one that figured it out. And I think it's cool. I like that they did a Phantom of the Opera Boris Karloff themed operator. And I hope they grow something out of it. That'd be kind of cool. So the movie that the anesthesia is about is called Black Friday, and here it says Boris Karloff. It's a science fiction gangster thriller. And Boris Karloff plays Dr. Ernst Savak. Oh, actually, no, never mind. Okay, so Boris Karloff's character it is Dr. Ernest Savak. Okay, so the movie starts, or book, I guess it's a movie. The movie starts with him retelling how he ended up in prison. Maybe that's where the gulag comes into play. So he's on death row, and I guess the story tells about how he got to the point where he's at. So Boris Karloff is Dr. Ernest Savak. So Savak's friend was in a car accident and got hit by a mobster, and that's where that hideout theme or keyword looks like it goes into play. So I'm going to say Boris Karloff instead of the guy's name. Boris Karloff, which is really strange and just a backstabbing thing. So the gangster who killed his friend, ran him over, he told Boris Karloff that he has $500,000. If he keeps him alive, I guess he'll share the money with him. So what he does, he transplants the brain from the killer, the mob killer that killed his friend, his brain into his friend's body. And I guess that's where all the crazy stuff comes into play. Zombies, I guess, which is really cool, and it's a backstory. I guess maybe how all those zombies are running around, if you want to put two and two together or make sense out of it. So like I said, it said hideout. Hideout's more like a gangster mob, or like a mob hideout. Okay, so I'm going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. Again, like I said one more time, mob hideout, I guess, was kind of the hint in that little paragraph that Infinity Ward gave. Moving on to the next thing. So he wrote I guess technically Doctor. Boris Karloff's character said the only possible way to save George Kingsley's life is by a brain transplantation. An operation I performed successfully on animals. I don't know if there's animals in Warzone, but I guess that's, again, maybe how the zombies came about. This is a dangerous and illegal operation. So he is like some sort of a mad scientist, transplanting brains, zombies, trying to keep people alive. Maybe, I think Dr. Karloff's daughter, if you read somewhere on Call of Duty, I think his daughter died, or he's trying to find his daughter. And actually, back really quickly, he's on execution because they tried killing his daughter. I'm just going to backtrack. Attempts to murder the doctor's daughter. So Boris Karloff shoots him dead, and that's where the the movie comes back into full circle where it starts out with him on death row, about to get the electric chair, and then it goes through how he got to that point, and then it returns where he actually gets executed. Again, this is from the movie that anesthesia device that they use. It shows that he used it to, before he took the brains out and transplanted the brains from the mob villain to his friend's body. And I guess in a way it kind of served as two purposes, where it saved the mob boss's life so he can try and get some of the money that the mob boss had, and then at the same time his friend's wife was really upset, so it kept him alive at the same time. Well, not really him, but the body and the wife. At first didn't suspect anything, but then started suspecting it wasn't her husband. This is just a scene before, that's the mob boss, before he dies. He tells him about the $500,000. And the guy on the right is Boris Karlov, who is like the mad scientist. Last thing is the climax. And this is where the Phantom of the Opera stuff looks like it comes in. Boris Karloff was in what was supposed to be the sequel to Phantom of the Opera, but the rights didn't go through, or it just didn't work out. So they ended up just making a similar movie, almost like a sequel, and they ended up naming it The Climax. So it says The Climax is a horror film produced by Universal Pictures, 1944, and it's from a play of the same name, although the plot has little connection to the play. So the movie isn't connected to the play too much, but that is where the title came from. Then it says, originally intended to be the sequel to Universal's remake version of Phantom of the Opera. It featured new characters and a new plot. So this is 1944. The original 1925 black and white one, so it's like 19 years later. Boris Karloff plays the guy who is pretty much the Phantom of the Opera, and that's look like how the stories connect, the mask and all that. The physician at the Vienna Royal Theater, Boris Karloff's character murders his fiancée, a prima donna, which is a singer, like the top singer for the opera house, out of obsession and jealousy. 10 years later, he hears another young singer, reminds him of his wife, and gets obsessed over her also. Kind of the same story as the Phantom of the Opera. So that, I think, pretty much wraps it up. Yep, that's pretty much it. How all his characters, I mean, I'm sure there's more, but this, again, is just an update. Maybe I'll do a third one. How they pretty much created one character, Dr. Karloff, from what looks like Boris Karloff movies. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.